And thanks to Northwestern, and thank you, Mr. Geno. Welcome everyone to the 42nd annual Natchitoches NSU Folklife Festival. Been doing this for 42 great years. We had a couple years off last couple years with the hiatus, but isn't it great to see all the people out here and all just the crafts and the vendors? It just feels good. Just a great feeling day. So thanks everyone for being here. And I just want to say that I have the honor to introduce Mr. Geno Delafose, who you all know is the powerhouse of Zydeco music.
Thank you.
And a Louisiana legend of cultural heritage, if you will. So, Mr. Geno, thank you. Thank you so much for coming back to us.
Thank y'all for having me here. And once again, welcome to each and every one of you here. Thank y'all for being here and taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and visit with us.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it. And we know that you're no stranger to Natchitoches. We know you've been coming here for almost probably as long as I've been alive. You've been here since the 80s.
When you told me, you said that this festival has been going on for 42 years. I've been playing 44 years.
Cool.
So I got to play 2 years before this festival started.
Wow, all right. That's what you call it. That's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wonder if we could just start off with that. If you'd like to maybe talk about a few memories of playing with your father here back in the day.
Okay, well, again, my name is Geno Delafose. The name of my band is Geno Delafose and French Rockin' Boogie. I started out playing with my dad, John Delafose, and the Eunice Playboys. And one of my fondest memories of playing over here at this festival, as a young kid, when we were coming to Natchitoches and we'd stay here for 2 days, I'll tell everybody we were going on tour. We were going on tour. That was like the highlight of my year, to come to Natchitoches and stay at the hotel and going on and just see the people and everything. So I just feel so honored and so privileged to be able to come back here and play some of the same festivals that I played with my father way back in the 80s and stuff. And like I said, I've been playing now, it's 44 years I've been playing music, and I don't know any other way of making a living but playing music. Well, now I have a little car transportation business and stuff like that and going on, but all of my life that I can remember, I've always played music. As a little young kid, I was out in the clubs, and my grandfather used to tell my mom all the time, that boy ain't gonna never finish school. He ain't gonna never get out of school. Y'all got him in those clubs and this and that. And out of 4 boys, I was the only one that finished school. So I had to prove him wrong. Yep. I finished high school, and I never learned how to smoke, and I never learned how to drink yet. So, and I try my best to get a lot of beauty rest. I don't know if it's working. Yeah.
Well, we all know you're a very hard-working musician, and all anybody has to do is follow Geno's and French Rockin' Boogie's social media to see how many nights a week y'all play music. Yeah, I think you play music more nights in a week than I go to work.
Well, we try to play as much as we can. When I was first started out with my band, after my dad passed away in '94, and I was out touring, I know one year we played 252 shows in 1 year. And so I wasn't home very much. I'd come home and change the oil in my van, bring my clothes to the cleaners, and we were off on the road again. The first trip I took, matter of fact, right after my dad passed away, I bought a brand new van, and I had 212 miles on it. And when we came back from our first trip, we had 9,000 miles on it. So I changed oil 3 times on it before I made it back home. So we did a lot of traveling, and when I finally got rid of that little van, I had 413,000 miles on it. Wow. And it still ran like the day I bought it. So we traveled a lot. We played a lot of music. I was very fortunate to be able to. I had a great team behind me. The agent that was booking my dad's band continued booking my band after we got started. My dad passed away, and so I was able to really get my name out there all across the United States, and we traveled all over. I'd never been to Hawaii to play before, and I think that's either I'm going to make it there playing or I'm going to take my wife there on vacation, one or the other. But we going. We're going to go. But we've been all across the United States, and we've been overseas, some to Europe and Germany and France and all that, and play music. And the folks overseas, they just love the Cajun and Zydeco music. They love American music. They just eat it up. And I had a great time going to all those places and everything, but there's no place at all like being at home. My heart is here in Louisiana, and this is where I want to be.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we know you've been playing so long, and you've had the privilege and the fortune of being able to play with some of the greats, some of the of history's greats of Louisiana music. And just kind of curious if you'd like to be able to talk about kind of then and now, growing up in the industry, how you were. It seems like you were very accustomed to it, going on tour with your dad and playing with him, and then kind of now how things have changed.
Oh yeah, well, most definitely. And you were saying that I was able to play with some of the greats. We did a lot of shows with Clifton Chenier, Rockin' Doopsie, Rockin' Sydney, Furnace Arsenault, the Ardoin brothers, Mr. Lawrence Ardoin, who's Chris Ardoin's father, Roy Carrier, who's Chubby Carrier's dad. Got to play with Beau Soleil, some stuff with B.B. King, just all over with a lot of great musicians, and I really, really enjoyed that. Back then, when I first started playing, Zydeco music, Cajun music, that was considered music for the old folks. And over the years, the younger generation has taken a liking to the music, and they've really upheld the music very well. The styles have changed a whole lot since when I first started playing. The tempo was a lot quicker with Zydeco music and Cajun music. When I was younger, playing drums with my dad, we probably were playing music at 60 miles an hour. I'm just using that as an example. But the music has slowed down so much now that music is probably played at about 30 miles an hour. That's how much, the melodies and everything has slowed down compared to when I was younger playing and I just got started. And the dance style have changed a whole lot too, especially with the Zydeco music. It's kind of a little bit more, I guess, more romantic, the way they want to, if you want to call it that and stuff. The Cajun style of dancing has pretty much stayed the same, but the music has slowed down a little bit also, and that could be because maybe, like myself, some of the musicians have gotten a little bit older, so we don't, we don't move quite as fast and going on. And whenever you're young and you're just full of energy, you just want to go, 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 go. And I like to use the saying, I always tell people, slow down and smell the flowers. Don't just blow them down. So slow down and smell them. And I think that's kind of what I'm doing with my music, because I play a big variety of music. I play a mixture of Zydeco and Cajun music, and people say, well, what kind of music you playing? So I tell them I play Zydeco and Cajun, but I won't classify myself as a Zydeco band, or I won't classify myself as a Cajun band, because I play about half and half of all of them. And I like the music, and the music, they're actually cousins. They're kin, because there's a lot of Cajun songs that I play, and I just put my twist to it. I might slow it down a little bit more and put my flavor to it. And there's some Zydeco songs I might speed up a little bit more and put a little Cajun twist to it. And so that's what makes it my style. And I love to sing in French, because I'm very fluent in French and I understand what I'm singing, and I know what I'm singing about. And I always laugh. I say a lot of these guys, they they sing in French, but they don't know what the hell they singing about. So I always tell folks, I say, I may not be the best, but when it comes down to speaking French and playing these Cajun songs and singing them and telling you what they're all about, I can give anybody a pretty good run for their money when it comes down to that.
Yeah, you said that right.
And I like to, I'm happy about that, and I feel that I sing better in French than I do in English. But I just give it my best on whatever I do.
We love you for the French.
Yeah, well, thank you.
We love you for the French. I mean, the music, you see less and less of it, and what you do see and what you do hear is often transmitted, like you said, just kind of learned, and they're just
right.
But you've done so much with the language, and so many of us young people like me, we listen to your music and we learn every time we hear your lyrics. We don't learn just what the word means, but we learn the way you pronounce things and the way that your emotion speaks from the music, either whether it be happy or sad or upset. And we learned the little nuances of the Louisiana French language from that. So thank you for those contributions you've given to us.
You're welcome.
It's good. Louisiana French is it's one of the things on the top endangered list for us as a culture. We're trying to do everything we can, and thankfully we got people like Mr. Geno.
Yeah.
Wondered if you'd also like to talk about maybe some of the venues that you played in the past and also nowadays, and maybe how that's changed a little.
Oh yeah. Well, back in the days when I started out with my dad, there was a lot of Zydeco clubs. We would play at Slim's Waikiki in Opelousas. We used to play at Richard's Club in Lawtell. We played a couple of times at Roy Carrier's place in Lawtell, also called the Gin Side Inn. We used to play at the Hamilton Club in Lafayette. We used to play at a club called the Bon Ton Roulette up in Lafayette. Some clubs up in Church Point. We used to play this big place in Lake Charles. It was called Walker's Recreation Center. We played there at least once or twice a month on Fridays in Lake Charles, and that was a big stop back in the days for a lot of blues artists. Bobby Blue Bland and B.B. King and all those guys. They would stop in and they would play at Walker's Auditorium, and they'd also play there's another place called Ball's Auditorium in Lake Charles, and they would frequently pass through Louisiana, and they were stopping and playing at those clubs and that stuff. And a lot of these clubs now, it's sad to say that they're gone, they're closed down and stuff like that. And there's some places now that I play. I always wanted to play like at La Poussière in Breaux Bridge, and I had the opportunity to play there, and it's been great for me. And I always believed in myself. I always said that if people gave me a chance, because they always wanted to classify me as a Zydeco band. And I would always say, if they just give me one chance to play at one of these Cajun clubs, I'm going to show them something, and they'll never forget it. And I got the opportunity to do it. And one of the first places that I was able to play at was actually at Whiskey River in Henderson. And the way that all of that came about, with me playing drums, I went on a tour with Christine Ballfire and Dirk Powell and Steve Riley. And what happened, Christine, they needed a drummer to go on a tour with them. So they called Steve Riley and they called myself. And we both called them back at the same time and said, well, we can go, we can play. So they said, all right, well, both of y'all come. And so I played drums and Steve played fiddle. And I got to meet Mr. Terry Angel and Martha on that trip. And then when we came back from that trip, Dirk Powell was going to England to do some recording, and Christine's band needed an accordion player to play at Whiskey River. So they said, well, man, would you come and sit in, take Dirk's place? I was like, yeah. So I went and I actually played with Ballfire Toujours band. And then we had some guest artists that came. Michelle Cormier came. Junior Melanson came. Another fella came that's very, very popular. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. That played the Scott Playboy special. He played at La Poussière for a long time also. But all those guys came in. We all played, and we had a great time, man. It was wonderful. Walter Mouton, thank you very much. Yeah, that's what happens when you get in those 50s. I'm in the forgetful 50s. And so after that, there's a lot of folks that wouldn't have seen me play at these other clubs I was playing at, got a chance to see me play. And so I asked Mr. Terry if he would let me play on a Saturday night, because I knew they were always closed on Saturday night. So I said, I'd like to come play on a Saturday night, and I'll charge you $400, just enough money to pay my band. And so he agreed to it, and we played that Saturday night. And the first time I had ever played there with my own band, we had 350 people at Whiskey River on a Saturday night. And it went about a month after that, and I asked him, I said, well, if you want, I'd like to try Sunday with you. And we had 450 a month later when I played on a Sunday. And we went another month, we had 550. And then the fourth time I played at Whiskey River on a Sunday, we had like 650 people that came there, and it was crazy. And I had a home there until the day that they shut down. I actually was the last band that played there before they closed Whiskey River down. And I remember one Mardi Gras, the Sunday before Mardi Gras, I played, and I had 900 people that came there on that Sunday. And then the other time, the most we ever had, myself and Jamie Badgeron played, we had 1,100 people that came there on that Sunday. And the Sunday that I played before Mardi Gras, we started at 4 o'clock, and I didn't walk off the stage until 9 o'clock that night. Damn. Never stopped. Yeah. I didn't know if I could still do that, but right after the pandemic was over, I played a party up in Gaydon. It was a little frog cooking deal going on. And we had played for 4 hours, and the guy said, "Man, can you play for another hour?" I was like, "Yeah." So I wanted to test myself and see if I could really still play for 5 hours, and we done it. I was like, "Oh, still got it." But that's kind of how I got my popularity here in Louisiana, and just I've always been true to the music, and I've got a lot of slack from a lot of musicians about the style of music I play, and some of them were. They talk about it and say, "Well, man, Geno, he ain't playing Zydeco, he playing Cajun music." And some would say, "Well, he ain't playing Cajun, he playing Zydeco, or he playing country." And all I could tell them was, "Yes, that is what I'm playing, but now watch me play it." Yeah. And now those same folks that really kind of rag me out, they doing the same thing. So, so I always, I played what I believed in, and it worked for me. It's been good.
So is the musical scene in your genre, is it a very competitive scene?
It is extremely competitive. And I was talking with someone about that the other day. And I'm definitely not by any means trying to sound cocky at all. I'm just really speaking the truth. In the Zydeco scene, it is so competitive, it's crazy. And the Cajun scene is so competitive, it's crazy. But for some odd reason, I really don't have a problem playing. I haven't recorded a CD, I think it's 16 or 17 years since I've recorded my last CD. I haven't put anything new out. I haven't changed anything. The only thing different from when I put my last CD out was I've gotten a little bit older. And I don't like to use that word older. I like to use the word I'm a little bit more seasoned. There you go. But I play just as much as anybody else around here on any given weekend. And majority of the festivals that they have, I play at all of them if I can make it. And so I have no problem getting gigs to play. And I've been blessed with that. And I guess it's kind of, for me, I look at it, it's like country music. I like George Jones and Merle Haggard, Conway Twitty, Charlie Pride, George Strait, and just the real Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, the real country music. I like that stuff, and it's hard to find that. And it's so funny. This week we went on vacation, and we went to Memphis, Tennessee, and went on Beale Street and heard a little bit of blues and stuff, and it was good. And then we went to Nashville, and I said, "Man, I'm going to hear some great country music, boy. I can't wait." And man, we took a stroll down Broadway, and I have to say I was totally disappointed. I have to agree with Alan Jackson and George Strait that murder was committed on Music Row there in Nashville, because from what I heard, I could have sat at the house and played my accordion for myself, And not that there wasn't good musicians and things like that, but just it's a little bit too commercial for me. Gotcha. And I think that might be maybe one of my downfalls in one way, because I don't really like to commercialize very much. I'm kind of, like a friend of mine told me, he said, "Man, if you're selling some bananas and you're doing good selling bananas, keep selling your bananas. Don't worry about the oranges and apples." So that's kind of what I've done, and it worked for me. And I understand that the music has to change. The older generation is kind of fading away, but there's still some of us here. Mm-hmm. There's still some of us here. and I've seen the style change a whole lot too. With the younger generation of Zydeco musicians, everything is a whole lot slower, more romantic, more kind of R. Kelly and Brian McKnight, and just these love songs here and these love songs there, and that's all right. That's what they want to do. That's what floats their boat. Have at it, but I'm going to do Geno Delafose. Yeah. I'm just going to be plain old me,
We like it like that. Yeah. I'm sure it seems like everybody in this crowd knows you, man. Everybody knows you. We know the energy that you bring when French Rock and Boogie goes on the stage. We know the energy, and we know the dance floor gets packed, and you watch people's feet come this high off the ground sometimes.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, and that's what what my music is all about. It's all about the dance. I've been hired to play some festivals and stuff, and I knew some of the other bands that played these festivals, and the bands that played there were some big time show bands. They were Zydeco band, but boy, they were show bands, and I just plain out told people, look, you know, I can play your festival, but I'm not a show band. You know, I don't need all the smoke and the lights and this and that going on. You know, just let me plug up and play and sing and do my music. And they hired us anyway, and it went over very well. But I've always been like that. Never much of a showman. This might sound kind of crazy, but I am very shy. But when I'm hired to do a job, I have to do the job. So, you know, we get it done. We get it done.
Well, what if you were at a venue, at a gig, and somebody said, Geno, what are the 3 top songs that you perform that make the people get on the floor?
Oh.
What would be Geno's top 3 that when you start playing, they're going to get on the floor?
Well, I know for sure the song by Chuck Berry and Elvis Presley, and I played the version that Johnny Allen done, The Promised Land. People, they love that song. They love the beginning, and it kind of hypes people up. And then there's another little song I just started playing a couple of months ago, and we call it the Perry Two-Step, and I named it after my dear friend, Mr. Perry Gary, so I call it the Perry Two-Step, and people are starting to know the song. It's a little instrumental number, and when I hit the first few notes to that song, people know what's going on, and they get on the floor, and a couple of dances I played, they said, look, you have to play it at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. And I'm like,
oh, there you go.
So we've done that, and then I don't know, just we just have so many good songs that we play and songs that I just enjoy. I don't know if I really have a top 3. I guess that's 2 fast songs, the ones I just said, The Promised Land and the Perry Two-Step. So I think if I throw the great Matilda in there, people always dance to Matilda.
They all
so
going for that. You know, they all going.
I can win them over with Matilda.
So do you and your band have, like, when you go in to do a gig, is it to where you have been playing together so long now where y'all don't even have to look at each other? Y'all could you just know what you're gonna be playing pretty much?
I don't never have to look at my band whenever we get ready to start or anything, and they never know what I'm gonna play.
So it's just always different playlist every time, huh?
Because once I get on stage and I start playing, by the time I play the 3rd or 4th song, I know which direction I'm going to be heading, and I can kind of feel the people and see what they want to hear. So I already know where I'm going with the next song because, you know, once I start one song and get into it, I already know what's coming up next.
All right.
So and that's a big thing that my dad showed me. He always told me, look at your dancers, look at your people, and he said, you're there, play for those people. Don't play for yourself. When you want to play for yourself, go on the porch and play all the songs that you want. But when you're at the dance, you play for them people. And I've always tried to please my audience and try to read my audience. And I'm not a very big talker when I'm on stage because I'm just always thinking about what song I'm going to play next. And I try to pace my music to where, you know, we'll play a fast song, 2 fast songs, and I'll play a waltz, and then I might play another 2-step and play a slow song. And just, I always tell people, I like to play music like I like to ride my horse. I don't run him all the time. I walk him a lot. So, you know, I take it easy and like that. You know, everybody can make it all the way through the dance. And when I first started playing, we had a joke going that I would always play. I had to play at least 1 waltz a year. And I was always scared to play a waltz. And now if I can't play a waltz whenever I play a dance, I didn't play a dance. Yeah.
Well, we've asked you some great stuff, but if you don't mind, I'd like to turn it to the audience and ask the audience if they'd like to pose any questions to you.
We got a question right here. Yes, sir. Okay.
Play either with or for B.B. King. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Okay. The question was when I played with B.B. King, we were up in St. Louis doing a festival up there in St. Louis, and we got a chance to play with him there, and he just was a super nice guy, down to earth and going on, and just you can tell that he came up hard and going on, and he appreciated where he was, and just always had good positive words to speak. And that was the same thing with Buckwheat Zydeco. That was another one of the artists that I forgot to mention that I had a chance to play with. And one day we were up in California, in Pennsylvania with Buckwheat. And I just always asked him, I said, Buckwheat, man, you know, how you do it, man? You know, what's the secret? And so he said, man, look, just be yourself and do what you do, and people going to love Geno for being Geno. And he just would always take me on his bus, and we talking, going on and stuff like that, and just was a super, super nice guy. And I really, really miss him a whole lot. I was happy to see that guys like Buckwheat and Bojack and Buzu, Willis Prudhomme, all those guys, that was all guys that was playing when I was playing in my dad's band. I was just a little boy. And then to be able to go and share the stage with those guys and play some festivals and really be friends with them. And I always had the utmost respect for all of them. It was just a wonderful thing for me. I always tell young musicians, you know, if you got a band, and especially if they have one old guy in the band, you need to keep that man. Keep that old fella, because that old fella is going to teach you a lot of stuff. And that's what happened with me also when my dad passed away. My dad's guitar player was played in my band for a while, and he kind of was like my he was kind of like my news reporter, because I didn't take the time out to really watch the news and see what was going on. But every time he'd get in the van, he would tell us what was going on in the news and stuff, and I appreciated that. And after I started touring a whole lot and was going a lot, he said, "Man, you know, y'all going just a little bit too much for me, and you know, y'all got it, man. Y'all just go ahead with it." And so he kind of retired from playing with us, and even till this day, I still miss him. Ain't going on, but it's.
My second question, you mentioned how the music has slowed down.
Yes, sir.
And you were playing a long time, and you've seen that happen over the course of decades, I guess.
Right.
How hard was it, if you play the same song, how hard for you is it to slow that tempo down? After playing one way for so long?
It wasn't hard at all. It really wasn't. What happened when I was playing drums with my dad, a lot of the tempo for the music was a lot. It was just a straight beat on the kick drum where it would sound. So that was the tempo that we were playing all the time with my dad. When Buzu Chavez started back playing again, his son Reles would play, and he would play what was called a double pump, which was a double kick on the bass drum. So instead of it sounding like this, it sounded like this. And so that's pretty much the tempo and the rhythm that 95% of your Zydeco drummers are going to play. And it can go a little fast if you want. But that's kind of what slowed it down. And then Bojack came in the picture, and Buzu's drummer kind of started that double pump. Bojack started that low end with a lot more bass. And then Keith Frank came in, and he came in with a lot more bass. And then everything went to bass, you know, bass and the double pump. They wanted that hard slapping going on. And so that kind of changed the tempo of the music, and it changed the dance style. People started dancing a little bit differently when that tempo came about and stuff. But it wasn't hard. It wasn't hard. Yeah. Yes, sir.
You said you learned a lot from your dad and that you were kind of shy. Was your dad also a shy person?
No, my dad wasn't too shy. He get out and talk with people and going on and stuff. And you know, I stayed shy for a long, long time because I was always in the back. I was the seldom seen. So, you know, I'm back there playing drums and just doing my thing, and I think that could be one of the reasons why I love to play drums, because I could move people, but they wouldn't understand what I was doing, because I knew how to excite the music and going on. And my dad enjoyed that, because he could just look at me and, you know, I knew where he wanted to go, and I could just give it to him when he wanted and then bring it back down and stuff. And that's one of the joys of being a drummer and stuff. And after Daddy passed away and I started playing, I didn't like to talk. I was real shy and real young at the time, and just I was well-groomed, but I wasn't seasoned. So it was a little bit hard. So I guess my shield was my accordion, and just play a lot of music. I knew if I was playing a song, then I didn't have to talk. So I just played a lot of music, which was a good thing for me, because then I learned a lot of songs. You know, I could play 3 or 4 hours and not have to say much, and I had it whipped. And I would always hate when they told me when I started out touring, well, we got this art center that you have to play at. I'm like, oh, dang, man. I said, man, those people they just gonna be watching me playing. I don't know what to tell them and stuff. And And one day I just sat down and I said, Geno, talking to myself, these people are coming to see you. They want to hear your story. So you just tell them your story. You don't have to make nothing up. And I started doing that. And now I love to play art centers. I love to sit down just like this and talk with people so they can know how I became who I am now. I wasn't always famous, you know. I was always Geno Delafose, but not the famous Geno Delafose. And I don't look at myself as famous. I just look at myself as Geno. I'm an everyday Joe. I used to be able to fool people pretty good when I put my ball cap on. I just kind of walk around and do this, do that. But now people be like, I was in the store the other day, and this guy, he was looking at me, and he didn't want to say nothing. He kept looking, he's like, Geno, that's you, man. I was like, yeah. I knew that was you, man. I knew that was you. And so
Can't even go incognito.
they kind of catch me now. But I'm happy that people want to talk with me and just visit with me and find out. And I like people to know, about my life, because it wasn't always cookies and cream. It wasn't always easy. It was tough. When I was 7 years old, I was playing in the band full time, playing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with my dad. I never liked to miss school. I didn't want to miss school. I went to school every day. I guess the hardest part about playing in the band was on Saturdays when I wasn't in school. We always had a lot of horses, so I was always out riding horses all day on Saturday. And my daddy would tell me, "You come out there and holler, y'all put them damn horses up. I don't want y'all sleeping tonight." So it kind of cut our Saturdays kind of short, But besides that, it was good. It was tough, I used to hate to. I hated to play in the clubs because they were so smoky. It would burn my eyes, and I'll get so tired. And I was like, man, God, it's miserable. But as I got older, I began to appreciate it. I was always with my mom and dad. No matter where I was at, my mom was always there. Daddy was there. So it was a family thing. And we spent a lot of time together, saw a lot of things. And, my parents always knew that I would be a good boy. And they trusted me. Sometimes I knew my curfew was at 11 o'clock during the weekdays. And if I got back a little bit later, they wasn't worried about it. And they would just tell me, well, if the cops stop you, call us. We're going to come get you. And they knew it wasn't going to be because I was drinking or raising some kind of hell, just because I was out a little bit past my curfew. And thank God I just kept it like that and just turned out all right. I got the final okay from my dad a couple of years after I had kind of took over the band. We played a festival up in Virginia, and I picked him up at the airport, and we had a couple of other shows to play and stuff. And so we were just riding in the van, and we were on the way to another show, and he said, well, man, I just want to tell you, you did really good. You got your stuff in order. You took control of it. So I really think that you're going to be all right. And once he gave me that okay, and I didn't ask for that, but once he told me that, I said, well, I know I can make it. And I've been at it ever since. Yes. How old were you when your dad passed away? 24. Yep. That was a real, it was a, how you, sometimes you have just a chain of kind of obstacles start happening. Well, the weekend before my dad passed away, I was leaving to go to, we were going to Washington, D.C. to play. And I had to play, I put a new engine in the van, but the radiator was messed up and the radiator wouldn't be in. So I couldn't take my van to go out on the road. I had an 85 Ford 250, and my transmission was slipping on that truck. So I said, man, but the other old truck, you could put some brake fluid in the transmission and tighten up the belts and you roll with it. So we done that. We took my truck and we went out on the road. And for some odd reason, I knew I was going to be gone for about 2 weeks. I put my bicycle in the trailer. So we got to North Carolina somewhere, and I broke a tire or two on my truck. So I had to get some new tires for that. We got up to Baltimore, and my voltage regulator, we were trying to make it up to Philadelphia to do a show, and my voltage regulator went out on my truck, and we couldn't figure out what it was. I thought it was my alternator. So I took my bike out the trailer, and I rode about 3 or 4 miles up the road to AutoZone, got an alternator, brought it back, put it on. Still wasn't right, and the time was running out on us, so we had to call. And so I missed my gig, my first gig for that little trip. And then the next day, we met this guy, and he came and checked my truck out for me. and figured out that it was the voltage regulator. So we changed that. We got that fixed up, and then we played a couple of more shows, and then I played a wedding that Saturday, and then the Sunday we were headed back home, and we got around Jackson, Mississippi, somewhere. There was an accident, so we stopped, and I said, well, I'm gonna walk around, just check my truck and trailer, make sure everything is good and stuff. Walked around and I looked underneath my truck, the starter was hanging. Cool. It was just hanging by the starter wire. So we took the starter off, taped it up, got back in the truck, we took off, and when we got back home that night, when we got to Jackson, we didn't have any cell phones or that stuff, so everybody called the families and stuff, and I called at home, and everybody was okay. And they told all the guys in my band that my dad had passed away, but they didn't tell me. So when I got back home after I dropped everybody else, and I got to my mom's house, and I had a brother that lived in Houston and a sister that lived in Lake Charles, and when they were there and everybody was up, I said, something ain't right, you know. And when I got back, they said, well, Daddy passed away that Saturday night and stuff. But it was one of those deals, you know. It's a part of life, yeah.
I think we had a couple questions in the back there.
So when I look at your tour dates and the places that you play that are very far flung, I'm always very curious how those people react to what you do to your music. Because I know here there's so much dancing and so much excitement. Is it the same energy there?
Oh yeah. A lot of people that has never been, people from here in Louisiana that has never been, say, to California, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Baltimore. If you've never been to those places, when they had a Zydeco dance, you would really, really be surprised. When I first started out, when people were dancing, I didn't know if they were dancing or fighting. But now, you know, the way it worked, when we went to, let's say we went to Virginia and played a show. Well, we started at 9. There was a dance lesson that started at 8 o'clock or 7:30, and they would teach the basic Zydeco 2 steps and the Cajun dancing. And now, all these places, that's why I traveled a lot when I first started going. We usually would leave Louisiana. I might play in New Orleans on a Thursday. I might play in Birmingham, Alabama on Friday, Huntsville, Alabama. Then we go into Baltimore, Virginia, Washington, D.C., go up to New York, Philadelphia, New Jersey. We'd go to Boston, go all the way up to Maine, playing this music. And these people, they all learn how to dance to the Zydeco and Cajun music. So when you see them dance, or when there's a band coming there, those folks can dance. Now, there's still a handful of them that, you know, the new folks that might come, they don't know how to dance that well, but they try, and if they don't know, you know, they try their best to learn, but they'll do whatever makes them feel good, and they'll get up and they hop around and dance and do their thing, but they love the music. And also, like in California, around the Los Angeles area, Richmond, California, San Francisco, these people, they can really dance, and I'm amazed at how well some of these people, Zydeco and Cajun dance. They can really get with it. Oh yeah. Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned riding your horse a little while ago. Several years ago, we were up here at this event, and you were giving a talk on your cattle operation.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still have your cattle farm?
We still have our cattle farm. We got about 100 head of mama cows. We got a little cow-calf operation. Sell some calves, and I tell you, the last 5 years, we've just been getting a beating with it. When I bought my place, bought our new place, my wife and I, that in 2015, we sold some calves, some 500-pound calves for $3 a pound. And we were getting $1,500 a head for those calves, and we turned around in 2016 and sold the same type of calves, and we could barely get $700 a head. And it's been beating us, and you know, it's been a long haul, because when we were selling calves for $3 a pound, diesel was probably $2 a gallon. Now diesel is $5 a gallon, and we can't get $2 a pound for these calves. You know, so there's a lot of farmers that's struggling. I know a lot of folks that they just went out of business, they gave up. But we, you know, I play my music, kind of take care of the cows, and my trucking business kind of take care of the cows. So I diversify to make it happen. And yep. Whatever it takes to make it happen, we do it. And I've been fortunate enough to, even through the pandemic, the year before the pandemic started, I was a substitute bus driver for 11 years. And I just done that because it's just something I want to do and just kind of maybe help the community. And I knew that there was a shortage of bus drivers in the little town where we lived at. And so I did that for 11 years. And then I was talking with a friend of mine that I played a festival for him. And we're sitting in his truck, and I asked him, I said, what do you do with this truck, man? He said, well, I haul some cars and stuff. And he said, sometimes me and my wife, we take off and we go to Houston, haul a load of cars and stuff. And we just kept talking. He said, well, man, you can do that, you know, there's nothing to it. So I already had my CDL, but I needed to get an endorsement to haul a trailer because I had to get a commercial license and get a DOT number and all that stuff. So I did that, and he brought me to the auction in Lake Charles. And I met a guy named Chuck Hill. He's got an auto broker and stuff. He gets cars back and forth to the auction. And when my buddy introduced me to him and told him I was going to start hauling cars, he said, that's good. He said, I can put you to work. He said, I've been listening to your music for 20 years. So, and we started like that. And I tell you, it's unbelievable how busy I am hauling cars. I haul 3 at a time. And most of my trips are from Lafayette to Lake Charles. But I go to New Orleans sometimes, go to Baton Rouge, go to Shreveport, Homer, just kind of wherever they want anywhere in Louisiana. I didn't get I don't have what's called an apportion plate on my truck where I can cross the state lines, because I kind of don't want to cross the state line. I'm away from my wife too much, and she's not too happy about that. So, so I try to make sure I'm home every night. Yeah.
So can you tell us a little about, you've been playing at nursing homes and what it means to those folks and to you? How you got into that?
Well, I've played a lot of nursing homes, and with the pandemic, that kind of really shut us down really bad. I've just always been the type of fella, I love to be able to give something back to the community, and to see the smile on the residents' face when I play those nursing homes. Money can't even buy that, and it makes my heart feel good. And I'm just so thankful for what I have and what I can do for other people. And I really enjoy playing at the nursing homes. There's some folks that call me, hospitals that kind of took over, and they call and ask me if can you come play for my mom? You know, she said the last thing she wanted is for you to come and sing her a song or two. And I've done it, you know, and then, you know, like a day or two later, that person passed away. But we do all kind of things, man. You know, a lot of people don't see the small things that I do. And I don't brag about that. I don't even say nothing about it. I just do it. But that's the stuff that I'm so happy that I'm popular and people like me, that they want me to come and do those type of things and stuff. And I don't mind. And people, they come up to me and they say, well, man, you know, I don't even know how to ask you this, or I don't even know if you even do this or whatever. And I said, well, if you ask me in English, I understand English pretty good. Well, what is it you like me to do? And they'll ask me, and I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And I played a birthday party last night for a gentleman turned 60 years old, and his wife called me, and she's like, well, I don't even know what to do. Who do I need to talk to? And, you know, I don't know how to go about doing this and stuff. I said, well, ma'am, I say, you're talking to the right person. You can't get any higher than this. You tell me what you want, and we'll do it. So she told me what she wanted. I said, that's fine. Well, I don't need to sign a contract and this and send you some money. No, ma'am. I said, you got my number. My phone is always in my pocket. You call me if you need something, and I'll be there. And they were so happy. They were tinkle-picked last night, man.
That was awesome.
And, you know, I have to say, that party I played last night was one of the best shows that I think I've ever played in the last 10 years. And the reason for that, it was about 70 people at that birthday party. It was family and friends and stuff. But I was amazed, and I even told the people I played the party for how amazed I was about that. Everybody, they sat around and they mingled and they talked. Everybody was talking. Everybody was dancing with one another. And the thing I was most impressed about is that you didn't see anybody on their cell phones reading this or reading that. I said, I can't. And there was a lot of young people there. And I was like, man, I can't believe that. You know, how nobody's on their cell phones playing around. You know, they did take pictures and they videoed a little bit here and there and stuff. But for the most part, 85% of the time, people were talking, and the young folks were dancing with the older folks, and the daughters dancing with the daddy, and the sons with the mama, and they had, that lady's mother was there. She's probably she's got to be 80 years old. And I swear, just as sure as I'm 6'2", 275 pounds, and my hat is white, that lady didn't miss one song last night. She danced every song. And I asked her, I said, ma'am, what do you do? How do you do this? She said, you know what? I danced all my life with my husband, and he passed away. So now I'm going to take advantage of every moment that I have from here on out. So I just want to pass that on to y'all, you know, while you're upright, you're all right, you're healthy, you feel good. Take advantage of the moments that you have right now, because you never know when it may be your last. And I'm saying that kind of on a sad note. I drove here from Houston just now. And I left from my nephew's funeral. He was 22 years old. So I went to the funeral, and then we came here. So while you're here, have fun, enjoy life, love one another. You know, just make the best of it, because, you know, we living on borrowed time. We're living on borrowed time, folks. And, you know, if you can be nice to somebody, be nice to them, and just live life to the fullest. And that's what I do. I try to stay happy and stay positive with everything that I do. Every time I walk on stage, I thank God that I can walk on that stage, and He give me the opportunity to get up there and play and perform for you all, and people love what I do. So that's my driving force. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say something. It's not a question, but when you're talking about the nursing homes and all of that, the day that you came to the nursing home and the VA in Alexandria to visit a friend, I told you before how much the staff, and all the residents there were so excited. And to this day, how many years later, every time your name comes up, the staff says, oh my God, he was so nice. He was such a good guy. We enjoyed that day so much. So I thank you for being generous with your time.
You all are so very welcome, and thank them so much for inviting me to go there. I really appreciate it. A lot of people think that I'm doing something nice for them, but they're really doing something nice for me, you know, because it opens up my eyes to a broader horizon, and just makes me appreciate life and appreciate people, you know. Because we live in from when I first started playing music, man, this world has gotten mean, and it's so sad that they took prayer and God out of school. And I always tell people, I say, you know, you can have a little small Chihuahua dog. If he doesn't respect you, you're going to have some problems with him. And it's the same thing with kids, you know. You got kids, you know, they're going to eventually grow up, and if they don't respect you, you're going to have some trouble. And it just, it's a sad thing, man. And I hope they can get prayer back in school, and people can just get to know God again. He never went anywhere. He's always been here, and He's going to always be here. And just, it's a tough world. Any more questions, please? Any questions? It doesn't matter.
We've about reached the limit of our time here.
Already?
So, Geno, I know. Well, we could listen to you all day and ask you questions. So, man, thank you so much for your time, and thank you to the crowd. And if we could, let's give a round of applause for Mr. Geno Delafose, guys.